Chapter 1 1.1 Keen on Battle. Dhritarashtra speaks. Verse number 1. Dhritarashtra spoke, described to me as to what his and the Pandu's sons were preparing to do after having assembled at the holy place of Kurukshetra, O Sanjay. Comments. Dhritarashtra, sitting in a part of his palace at Hastinapur, inquires from Sanjay, out of curiosity as to the progress of the battle between Pandavas and Kauravas which was to take place at Kurukshetra, many kilometers away from Hastinapur. It has to be kept in view that Shri Ved Vyas had enabled and empowered Sanjay to see and hear all that was happening on the battlefield at Kurukshetra. The object of this empowerment was to inform Dhritarashtra about the battle. Sanjay and Dhritarashtra were in the same room of the palace at Hastinapur. It is in this background that the description and commentary by Sanjay for the benefit of Dhritarashtra started. Dhritarashtra really desired and wanted that the only opposition of Pandavas to his son Duryodhan is demolished and removed. This desire stoked the fire of ambition in Duryodhan for an unchallenged rule on the horizon. If Dhritarashtra and his wife Gandhari did not want a fratricidal war with likely destruction of a dynasty, they could have dissuaded their son Duryodhan from fighting. Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya would have been on the king's side in that effort. Aided, abetted and advised by Shakuni, Duryodhan had been for many years winning friends and influencing persons who could have mattered in any battle between the Kauravas and Pandavas. For example, Shri Balram, elder brother of Shri Krishna, was influenced by Duryodhan. King Dhritarashtra was keen to battle it out with the Pandavas with confidence in his victory. Otherwise, he would not have requested Shri Ved Vyas to enable and empower Sanjay to see and hear the ongoings on the battlefield. Further, the question put by King Dhritarashtra is quite indicative of the fact that certain preparatory steps had to be taken by the armies before the actual battle was to start. This could take time. Sounding of bugles was one of such preparatory steps. The interregnum between the assembly of the armies and the start of the actual battle was the time utilized by Shri Krishna to deliver the sermon of the Bhagwat Gita. 1.2 War was won to vindicate honor of women. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 2. Sanjay informs Dhritarashtra that Duryodhan, after looking at the circular military formation of the army of Pandavas, walked up to his teacher and spoke to him. 1.3 A taunt. Verse number 3. Duryodhan requested his teacher to look over the large armies of the sons of Pandu, which had been arranged in circular military formation by Guru Dronacharya's intelligent disciple Drupad's son. Comments. The language used by Duryodhan has a tinge of insinuation against Guru Drona. The sarcasm against the Guru is quite clear. 1.4 War was won to vindicate honor of women. Verse number 4. The army of Pandavas has many valiant warriors, bowmen comparable to Arjun and Bhim, such as Yudhan, Virat and great fighter Drupad participating on their side. 1.5 Verse number 5. The army of Pandavas has in it powerful warriors like Dhrashtaketu, Sekitan, Kashi Raja, Purujit, Kuntibhoj and Sabya king of Shivi, who is best amongst men. 1.6 War was won to vindicate honor of women. Verse number 6. The army of Pandavas also has powerful warriors like Yudhamanyu, Uttamauj, the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. These are all great charioted fighters. 1.7 War was won to vindicate honor of women. Verse number 7. Now, you may know and be acquainted with the preeminent and best of the generals from the three classes, who are on our side and are leading my military force, and I tell about them. Comments. Note, the word Dvijottama has more than one meaning according to the dictionaries. In the above shlok, the expression Dvijottama is being interpreted to refer to the three ancient classes in the society. This expression is further being connected to the generals of the military force. In shlok number 3 of chapter 1, Duryodhan has been sarcastic of Guru Drona, indicated by the words like son of Guru Drona's friend, causing military formation of Pandavas' armies. In this shlok number 3 of chapter 1, Guru Drona is addressed simply as Acharya, teacher. Even grandsire Bhishma is irreverently described as Bhishma only in shlok number 8 of chapter 1. Therefore, it will not be natural to ascribe the expression Dvijautam to Guru Drona. If the expression Dvijautam is wrongly confined to Guru Drona as meaning worthiest Brahman, then also it will be sarcastic. Guru Drona was in the battlefield to fight. He could not have been described as a learned person, Brahman. In shlok number 8 of chapter 1, Guru Drona is mentioned as a general from the first class, Shri Bhishma from the second class, and Karan from the third class. Furthermore, if the expression Dvijautam is confined to the worthiest Brahman, then the first part of the shlok does not get connected to the second part. In view of the above stated reasons, the translation of the shlok given above has been adopted. 1.8. Verse number 8. Yourself, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Aswathama, Vikarna and son of Somdata, winner of battle. 1.9. Verse number 9. In addition, many others are in my army, who are willing to lay down their lives for me and who are experts in using different weapons and are well experienced in the battle warfare. 1.10. Quality or quantity. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 10. Duryodhan stated that the strength of his army is immeasurable, unlimited, and is protected by Bhishma completely. He also stated that the strength of the Pandavas' army was limited and was protected by Bhim. 1.11. Insult to Guru. Verse number 11. At all strategic points in the layout of the army, everybody should take his place for the assigned work and all of you should protect Bhishma. Comments. The above verse discloses the impropriety and the feeling of superiority complex of a disciple vis. A guru. Duryodhan's haughty arrogance emanates from the false sense of the military might of the kingdom of Hastinapur and its allies, and also from the misplaced sense of duty or loyalty to the kingdom by some. He also trusted and relied upon Karna and Shakuni. When so many persons wanted a war and war only and not peace, then how could the war be avoided? 1.12. Kaurva's confidence, battle readiness. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 12. Cheerfulness spread on the side of the Kauravas, when the valiant grandfather Bhishma, the senior most Kuru, blew his conch, which sounded like the roar of a lion. 1.13. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 13. Thereafter, suddenly conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets and horns were blown. The combined sounds became tumultuous. 1.14. Shri Krishna as warrior life, not a battle, harmonious transition. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 14. Shri Krishna, Madhav, and Arjun were positioned on a great chariot drawn by white horses. They blew their conch shells with divine qualities. Comments. This shlok is most revealing. It is also the tip of the iceberg. The blowing of the conch by Sri Krishna undoubtedly and certainly showed and declared that Sri Krishna was much more than a mere charioteer, although the reins of the horses were in his hands. He was actively on the side of the Pandavas. The sound of his conch was to have effect of inspiring and instilling courage and to boost the battle morale of the Pandavas and allies. The sound of his conch will fill the hearts of the enemies with apprehension and fear, notwithstanding the big names and the vast numbers on the side of the Kauravas. Further, in the above situation of Sri Krishna, it is not apt to apply the analogy of the soul and the senses. The soul has to play the role of the master leader in the life of living beings. The war at Kurukshetra was real, not symbolic soul and senses. In Bhagwat Gita, there is no mention of the number of horses yoked to the chariot. However, the shlok is descriptive of the actual sight and sounds of the battlefield as heard and seen by Sanjay. In fact, the white color of the horses cannot be consistent with the villainous role ascribed to the senses in the material body of a living being. Therefore, the shlok is not symbolic. Furthermore, Sri Krishna in this sermon of the Bhagavad Gita does not describe the life of a living being as a battle or a war. Battles may have to be joined, but that is not the purpose or object of life. Even a battle has to be carried on as a stoic person, unruffled. Life should be harmonious and a smooth transition from one spiritual material level to a higher spiritual material level by actions for public good and not for selfish interest. While carrying on actions in life, the heaven, the higher planets and even the moksha nirvana should follow as auto-elevations. All actions should be unselfish and without longing obsession for a particular result, niskam. This word should be correctly understood. It certainly does not mean no thought at all of the aim or the object of the actions, see note below. The longing for more and more somehow will be checked. Corruption of all types will also be checked. This by itself ensures this sermon of Bhagavad Gita an eternal relevance for societies. Should any governance take place except for public good? The answer is capital No by Bhagavad Gita. For further discussion, please see inter alia shlok numbers 31, 32, 64 of chapter 2, shlok numbers 12, 13 of chapter 3 and shlok numbers 6 to 8, 16, 17 of chapter 4. Note, the words kam and niskam have the following dictionary meanings. 1. Kam, 1. Longing, an intense desire, obsession. 2. Selfish. 2. Niskam, 1. Unselfish. 2. Without longing, translated into English. Please refer to Sanskrit Hindi Dictionary, page number 585 by V.S. Apte, 2nd edition by Dr. Uma Prasad Pandey, Kamal Parkasan, Delhi. A Sanskrit English Dictionary, Volume 1, edition, 2008, page number 401, edited and revised by Pandit Ishwar Chandra, Parimal Publication, Delhi. 1.15. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 15. Shri Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanyam. Arjun blew his conch shell called Devdut. Bhim blew his conch shell named Pondara. Bhim was a great performer of difficult tasks. He was also a voracious eater like a wolf. 1.16. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 16. King Yudhishthir, Nakul and Sahdev, the sons of Kunti, blew their conch shells named Anantavijaya, Sughosh and Manipuspak respectively. 1.17 Sanjay speaks. Verse number 17. King of Kashi, who is a great archer, and Shikhandi, who could fight alone against 1,000 warriors, blew the conch shells. Also, Dhrastradyumna, the son of Drupad, blew his conch shell. Virat also blew his conch shell. Satyaki, who had not been vanquished by anyone, blew his conch shell. 1.18 Sanjay speaks. Verse number 18. Drupad and the sons of Draupadi and others like the mighty armed Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, blew their respective conch shells. 1.19 Sanjay speaks. Verse number 19. The different conch shells produced an uproarious din, causing reverberations in the sky and vibrations on the earth. This had the effect of rending the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. 1.20 Sanjay speaks. Verse number 20. O Rajan, Arjun, standing in his chariot, which had the emblem insignia of an ape, monkey bannered, while looking over the sons of Dhritarashtra arranged in military circular formation, pulled the bowstring of his bow, causing the twang like the sound of a thunderbolt. Thereafter, Arjun spoke to Shri Krishna. Comments. Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 1 may be read together. For comments see Shlok number 21 of chapter 1. 1.21 Arjun's loosening of self-control senses body intellect. Arjun speaks. Verse number 21. Arjun spoke, O infallible one, please take my chariot to the place between the two armies, so that I can know as to the persons desiring to fight this battle, and who are arrayed in the battlefield and keen to fight. Comments. Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 1 may be read together. The above request made by Arjun to Shri Krishna to park the chariot between the two armies is quite intriguing. His action stems more from instincts. Apprehension of defeat has overtaken his soul. Arjun had blown his conch shell. He had also caused the great reverberations and awesome sound with his bow. These two acts did show his readiness for the battle. Normally, the request for placing the chariot between the armies could not have been made without the orders of the commander of the Pandavs' army. Also, it can be assumed that Arjun knew about the main warriors on the side of the Kauravas and different relationships on both sides. Please see Inter alia Shlok number 30 of chapter 1. All-powerful, all-humility. Further, with the benign presence of Shri Krishna on the side of the Pandavas, Arjun could not entertain any doubt about the result of the battle. It seems that Arjun lost control of his intellect and senses, resulting in loss of realization of the reality of Shri Krishna. Yet, his humility was unmatched, Shri Krishna's. Arjun also forgets that he was a soldier by profession and as to why Shri Krishna was on Pandav's side. Arjun felt weakened by certain thoughts and the strength of the enemy. He desired peace and not war, and therefore, he made the above said request so that the battle could be postponed, avoided, and he put forward the specious plea of acquainting himself with the actual participants, warriors on the side of Kauravas. The questions put and the doubts expressed by Arjun betray his state of consciousness of the soul and state of his body. Please see Inter alia Shlok numbers 21 to 28 of chapter 1, Shlok numbers 8, 14, 50 to 64, 67 of chapter 2 and Shlok numbers 5 to 7 of chapter 3. The above request of Arjun made to Shri Krishna is also clearly indicative of Arjun's hope that many of the main warriors who were known to be on the side of the Kauravas will not appear in the battle, on the side of the Kauravas. 1.22. Arjun speaks. Verse number 22. Because I will come to know as to the persons who want to fight against me and are waging the war. Comments. Shlok numbers 20 to 23 of chapter 1 may be read together. For comments, see Shlok number 21 of chapter 1. 1.23. Arjun speaks. Verse number 23. So that I come to know about the persons who have come to fight on the side of the evil-hearted foolish sons of Dhritarashtra. Comments. Shlok numbers 22 to 23 of chapter 1 may be read together. For comments, see Shlok number 21 of chapter 1. 1.24. No man's land. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 24. Sanjay spoke to Dhritarashtra on being addressed requested by Arjun. Shri Krishna drove the finest chariot and stationed it between the two armies. Comments. Shri Krishna had understood and realized the reason for Arjun's request made to him. Instead of cutting short and refusing the request, Brahma's alter ego Shri Krishna parked the chariot between the two armies. As long as the preparatory steps before the actual start of the battle had not been completed by both sides, the chariot could remain parked. Please see comments under Shlok number 1 of chapter 1. In the situation, Brahma's alter ego Shri Krishna will have all the time to successfully take Arjun out of the molasses of despondency and weakness of the Arjun's soul. This would be so, more particularly as Bhishma was the commander of the Kauravas, who knew the reality of Brahma's alter ego Shri Krishna. 1.25. The impromptu sermon. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 25. Shri Krishna, after placing the chariot between the two armies, in front of Bhishma, Drona and all other chiefs, Shri Krishna said to Arjun to have a look at Bhishma, Drona and all other chiefs of the earth and Kauravas, to see all of them assembled. Comments. Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya and all other relations, kings and chieftains etc. standing on the opposite side had gathered to support and fight for the Kauravas and against the Pandavas. Arjun has already called the Kauravas as wrongdoers and aggressors. The above words asking Arjun to see the warriors on the side of Kauravas indicate knowledge of Shri Krishna of the subconscious turmoil in the consciousness of Arjun. Shri Krishna wanted overt expression of the said turmoil on the part of Arjun, so that the doubts and misgivings in Arjun's consciousness could be cleared. Further, there is no reason for anyone to say that the sermon, the conversation between Shri Krishna and Arjun and communications between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra were part of a prepared text. There is sufficient internal evidence in the text to show that the entire sermon was impromptu extempore. For example, the fears expressed, the overlaps, repetitive nature of Arjun's questions, one aspect of any subject dealt with at more than one place, narration of principles etc. not in sequential form etc. Such examples can be multiplied to show that the sermon of Bhagwat Gita was not written in the quiet of an ashram etc. but was delivered impromptu extempore, in the middle of the battlefield. 1.26. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 26. While standing, Arjun could see in the armies, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends and also fathers-in-law and well-wishers included in the two armies. 1.27. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 27. Arjun, on seeing the relations arrayed to fight, overcame with very intense emotion, compassion, remorse and grief. and spoke to Shri Krishna. Comments. What had been going on inside of Arjun as indicated and underscored in Shlok number 21 of chapter 1 was sought to be covered and hidden by untrue and immature reasons by Arjun. 1.28 Senses overtaking Arjun's plight symptoms specious please. Arjun speaks. Verse number 28. Arjun spoke, on seeing our own people kinsmen ready to fight, every part of my body is trembling and my mouth is drying up, O Krishna. 1.29 Arjun speaks. Verse number 29. My entire body is shaky, my hair are standing on end, my bow Gandhiv is slipping from my hand and the skin and my body are burning. 1.30 Consciousness is the quality only of the soul impacted consciousness. Arjun speaks. Verse number 30. I am feeling giddy and unable to stand anymore, my impacted consciousness, mana, is reeling and is confused, I am imagining the battle leading to adverse consequences and misfortune, O Keshav. Comments. As was desired and expected by Shri Krishna, Arjun is coming out with his feelings and emotions. The shlok clearly indicates as to how seriously Arjun has been overtaken by certain thoughts, which have affected his intellect and the capacity of reasoned solutions, which are aspects of consciousness of the soul, so are the thoughts. The word mana in the above shlok is really an aspect of the consciousness of the soul. Consciousness is the quality only of the soul and of no other part of the material body. The word has been interpreted in view of its context and the object of its use. Note: the word impacted consciousness, mana, has been used in the translation above. Full explanation of the consciousness of the soul and how the consciousness of the soul gets impacted has been detailed inter alia in Shlok numbers 4 and 5 of chapter 7, Shlok numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 15, etc. Very briefly stated, impacted consciousness of the soul consists of effects caused due to wrong karmic reactions, wrong thoughts, wrong acts, wrong instincts, in the living beings. Please also see the common note number 5 on the word mana etc. and a part thereof is be reproduced below. The so-called mind and its unreality had to be taught while using certain words such as mana as in common parlance because of Arjun, layman. 1.31 Incomplete information defective analysis impacted consciousness. Arjun speaks. Verse number 31. I do not see how any good can come from killing our own people in this battle. Nor I desire to enjoy the victory, winning of kingdom or happiness obtained after killing of our own people, O Krishna. Comments. Shlok numbers 31 to 34 of chapter 1 may be read together. The above symptoms of Arjun are as a result of impacted consciousness, mana, caused due to incomplete information and its incorrect analysis. 1.32 Incomplete information defective analysis impacted consciousness. Arjun speaks. Verse number 32. Of what use is the kingdom won, if those with and for whose happiness the same is enjoyed and desired, are arraigned in the battlefield, O Govind. Comments. Shlok numbers 31 to 34 of chapter 1 may be read together. Please see comments under Shlok number 31 of chapter 1. 1.33 Incomplete information defective analysis impacted consciousness. Arjun speaks. Verse number 33. These people, sacrificing their love for own life and wealth, are present in the battlefield. When teachers, fathers, all other relatives and grandfathers. Comments. Shlok numbers 31 to 34 of chapter 1 may be read together. Please see comments under Shlok number 31 of chapter 1. 1.34. Arjun speaks. Verse number 34. Maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing in the battlefield. Victory will be of no use. I am not willing to kill all those standing against me even if they kill me, O Madhusudan. Comments. Shlok numbers 31 to 34 of chapter 1 may be read together. Please see comments under Shlok number 31 of chapter 1. 1.35. Arjun's fears. Arjun's first fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 35. Even if I were to get the power to rule the three worlds, what to say of the kingdom of this earth? I am not willing to kill those standing against me in the battlefield. Rather, I would prefer to be killed by them unarmed, O Janardhan. Comments. Shlok numbers 28 to 35 of chapter 1 show that the reasons put forward by Arjun are personal to him. He labored under the impression that the war between Pandavas and Kauravas was for winning the throne of Hastinapur only. If at all, that was only an apparent reason. The real reason was forgotten by Arjun. Shri Krishna's decision to participate in the battle, and that too on the side of the Pandavas, clearly showed that the war was for a much higher purpose, the victory of good over evil, morality over immorality, social good over individual interest, the long-term good of the society over the immediate interest, honor and empowerment of women over dishonor and deprivation of women, etc. All the main warriors who were to participate and fight were known to the two sides. Therefore, the apparent reasons set out by Arjun in Shlok numbers 28 to 35 of chapter 1 were not worthy of a man like Arjun. The true and more effective reason was the weakening of Arjun's confidence in Pandav's victory. This is shown by the subsequent reaction of Shri Krishna. Arjun's fear of non-enjoyability of victory is the first fear, fear number 1. 1.36. Need to explain sin and death. Arjun's IIND, second fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 36. Sin will be on us if we killed even the wrongdoers. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and their relatives. We will not gain happiness by killing of our own people kinsmen, O Madhav. Comments. The above shlok refers to the bad ill effects on the doer of the action of killing even of the wrongdoers. The shlok also clearly spells out Arjun's fear. He says the killing of those in the battlefield will be a sin. In the preceding shlok, Arjun had expressed the futility of victory at the cost of the killings in the battlefield. What he means to say is that the commission of such a sin will not be of any use. Thus, there will be no material enjoyment. There will be no moral spiritual gain. This is Arjun's second, and fear, fear number 2. Obviously, the above were wrong and selfish thoughts. 1.37. Need to explain sin and death. Consciousness is quality only of the soul impacted consciousness. Arjun speaks. Verse number 37. These persons in their impacted consciousness caused by greed are overlooking the damage to the dynasty and its ill effects as also the effects of fighting with friends. These are sinful actions. Comments. Shlok numbers 36 and 46 of chapter 1 may be read together. In Shlok number 37 above, an explanation is being offered by Arjun as to why he has called the Kauravas as wrongdoers. Note: the expression Satasa has been interpreted as impacted consciousness. For explanation of this expression, please see inter alia Shlok numbers 30 to 34 of chapter 1, Shlok numbers 7 and 8 of chapter 15, etc. Also see common note number 5 on the word Mane. 1.38 Need to explain sin and death. Arjun's ayayad, third, fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 38. By our killing them, we shall be destroying a dynasty, and this action will cause great sin upon us. Since we realize this, we should avoid this sin, O Janardhan. Comments. The above expression by Arjun also shows his ayayadi, third, fear of end of a dynasty, fear number 3. 1.39 Need to explain sin and death. Arjun's IVTH, fourth, fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 39. By destroying a family dynasty, the old traditions of dynasty cease and values are destroyed. Also, the dynastic traditions are not followed. This may lead the surviving members to lead a sinful life. So, it is said. Comments. The above is the fourth, IVTH, fear expressed by Arjun, fear number 4. The above shlok generally refers to effects of destruction of a dynasty. It does not refer to each and every family in the society. The families being a part of a clan or tribe or a race etc. follow the traditions etc. of that tribe, clan, race etc. However, the ruling few may have dynastic traditions. Arjun is referring not to the society in general but only to the dynasties, the ruling few. If these dynasties were selfish, unfair, unjust and even tyrannical as was the Kuru dynasty led by Duryodhan but headed by Dhritarashtra, such rulers are the very cause of degradation etc. of the society. In this case, there were many of such rulers' dynasties causing the general decadence, moral and cultural decline in the society. Therefore, Ishwar Brahm decided to manifest his alter ego Shri Krishna. Such dynasties with their wrongful and unfair traditions and activities had to be uprooted. The disease and the vices had percolated downwards generally. That is why the idiom as the ruler, so are the ruled, yatha raja tatha praja originated. All decay was at the cost and peril of the common man. For further discussion, please see comments under Shlok numbers 43 of chapter 1, 6 to 8 of chapter 4. 1.40 Women virtuous admittedly. Arjun's VTH, fifth, fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 40. On such a destruction, irreligion will pollute the female members of the dynasty. Killing of men will also lead to mixture of classes categories, oversni. Comments. Shlok numbers 40 and 41 of chapter 1 may be read together. In the above shlok, the intermixture of classes is expressed as the fifth fear of Arjun, fear number 5. Shri Krishna in Shlok number 13 of chapter 4 corrects Arjun by laying down that not caste but classes categories were identified by the Brahm on the basis of broad division of nature of work and its quality in the society. It is worth repeating that the battle of Kurukshetra was not Arjun's first battle, nor the first battle to his knowledge. How could Arjun conveniently forget the battle between Sri Ram and Ravan when thousands of men were killed on both sides. There was no complaint of the women going astray as an aftermath of the battle. The post-war conditions in the Indian societies have disproved the imaginary fear foreboding of Arjun, as not even a whisper about women going astray is found in history and even in mythology. After war women virtuous, however. Arjun's reference to women's possible condition after the war clearly showed that till then, till before the commencement of the war, women were virtuous and righteous. It is further on record that under the kingship of Yudhishthir and Arjun's grandson Parikshit, the Indian society had prospered and was in peace. Even in the modern times, no such general complaint of the women going astray was heard of after World War I and World War II. Further, the fears expressed by Arjun were imaginary and baseless. It may also be remembered that the unwanted custom of sati came to be resorted to by women showing their chastity and righteousness so that the war widows did not fall a prey to the enemy. There was no fear of women going astray in any manner. 1.41 Arjun's wheat, 6th fear. Arjun speaks. Verse number 41. The intermingling of castes may cause a hellish life situation. Nobody will be able to make offering of food and water oblations to the ancestors of the family dynasty, offering the pinda. Comments. This is the 6th, wheat, aspect of Arjun's fears. Arjun refers to socio-religious and religious ill effects of the likely genocide of men, fear number 6. At any point of time, there are thousands of ancestors who are left with no successors. 1.42 Arjun speaks. Verse number 42. By such evil deeds, destruction of the dynastic traditions, community values and family values and intermingling of castes categories is caused. Comments. This shlok is only repetitive of what has already been said in the previous shloks about fears. 1.43 Fears imaginary proved wrong. Arjun speaks. Verse number 43. I have heard through the tradition of the Guru and the disciple that those whose family traditions are destroyed have to live in hell, O Janardhan. Comments. In shlok numbers 3 to 43 of chapter 1 above, the subject matter thereof is the Kuru family or the Kuru dynasty as symptomatic only. The doubts expressed by Arjun are more imaginary than real. It is not that the battle to take place at Kurukshetra was to be the first battle involving the Kuru dynasty. Further, it is said that the Kuru dynasty would have come to an end if Sri Vedvyas, an outsider to the family, had not fathered Pandu, Dhritarashtra and Vidur. Such examples can be multiplied. Further, Vidur was the son of Sri Vedvyas from the maid-servant of the royal family. Furthermore, the treatment meted out to Draupadi in open court of the king and in the presence of all Kuru elders and others is proof enough of the deep degradation of the dynasty itself and the society in general and conditions of women in particular. The root cause had to be uprooted. Duryodhan had to be defeated as he symbolized arbitrariness, corruption, influence of money and sycophancy, dishonor of women, etc. The post-war conditions in the society had peace and prosperity. Once again, the fears of Arjun were proved wrong. 1.44 Need to explain sin and death. Arjun speaks. Verse number 44. It is said that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. The only purpose of ours is to enjoy a kingdom. We want to kill our people kinsmen for this purpose. Comments. The above shlok is only repetitive of the foregoing shloks. Please inter alia see comments under shlok number 43 of chapter 1. 1.45. He is not to reason why. Arjun's defeatism. Confidence lost. Arjun speaks. Verse number 45. I will prefer that the sons of Dhritarashtra with arms weapons in their hands kill me in the battlefield while I do not resist them and I am without any arms weapons. Comments. It is a matter of common knowledge that during the course of training even of an ordinary soldier, he is told that to kill and to be killed is his profession. However, Arjun having been trained as a professional warrior, it is shocking that a man of his parts should have thus dithered as does a horse in the face of a serpent. Furthermore, it is also part of the training of a soldier that he is not to reason why. He is not to make reply. He is but to do and die. It can easily be inferred that Arjun, while being the best of archers, was not fully professionally trained. Also, Arjun was not the commander of the Pandavas' army. 1.46. Consciousness is quality only of the soul. Eternal relevance. Issues summarized. Sanjay speaks. Verse number 46. Arjun, after speaking the above words, and with a lamenting and sorrowful impacted consciousness, souls, sat down in his chariot and put aside his bow and arrows. Comments. In the first chapter, Arjun says that the battle with Kauravas will certainly lead them, Pandavas, to hell and killings will have many ill effects and will tantamount to commission of sin, damning the killers certainly to hell. The reasons given by Arjun for his fears are apparently simple and straight. But are reasons really incorrect? Further, are the said reasons sufficient to justify a warrior like Arjun to shy away from the war? Need to explain consciousness, intellect, senses, etc. In the subsequent chapters and shloks, Sri Krishna sets out and evaluates the reasons and deals with other related matters. It is noticeable that Sri Krishna had not intervened when Arjun was speaking. In shlok numbers 12 to 30 of chapter 2, Sri Krishna dwells at a great length on the concept of individual soul, universal soul, death and rebirth, etc. Sri Krishna deals with the concept of soul in alternatives. First, if the individual soul is ever existing or unborn. Secondly, whether the individual soul is born and has a death. It will be natural to understand as to why such minute philosophical knowledge is being imparted to Arjun. The obvious purpose of this part of the sermon discourse is to show that life or death are not so vital for a person. What is relevant is the quality of life, its purpose and object. Further, what is relevant is the cause of death of a person and whether it has been caused in the discharge of one's duties and whether same has been caused without expectation of a personal gain and or was for the larger benefit of the society. What Sri Krishna lays stress on is the cause of the death in order to understand, evaluate whether sin has been committed by the so-called killer. The subsequent chapter number 2 also shows if by doing of an act, there is commission of a sin or not. In the behavior of Arjun, one finds that often the educated and experienced persons try to take shelter behind high-sounding moral or social principles to smoke-screen their weak and wavering thoughts and emotions in the face of possible death or defeat or denunciation, etc. This was the very Arjun who participated in the game of dice between Pandavas and Kauravas and shamelessly watched disrobing of Draupadi, without raising any objection whatsoever. The kind of specious pleas as put forward by Arjun are not only voiced by individuals but also by groups of people, societies, and even by the governments with dishonest intentions which are sought to be hidden behind the false and even harmful pleas. Such pretensions have to be at all times exposed and laid bare and defeated. In order to pull out an intellectually sinking person, it is necessary to understand and to teach as to what happens which causes thoughts of defeatism, sin, death, escapism, etc. in a living being. That is why Sri Krishna teaches us that it is the soul which is the master of the material body and is the only conscious entity. The so-called mind and its unreality had to be taught while using certain words such as manah as in common parlance because of Arjun, a layman. All this is also directly connected to what is right and what ought to be done, dharma. Please also see Common note number 5 on the word manah etc.